Alright, and welcome to our 2-5 mixed review. Now, number 1 says this: given SK is congruent to KY. And I couldn't edit this in, but there should be line segments above those. So when we say that SK is congruent to KY, well, what are we really saying here? We're saying that we have two congruent sides, so this must be an isosceles triangle. Now, if this is isosceles, what does that really mean about the base angles? It means that the base angles are congruent. So if we were going to set up anything, we could set up one of the following two statements. We could say, you know what, my base angles of an isosceles are congruent, and I could write 2x plus 30 is equal to 3x plus 20. Well, wait a second. Notice that for step 1, they don't do 2x plus 30 is equal to 3x plus 20. They do 2x plus 30 is equal to 5x plus 30, right here. This is what they use. Now, is this congruent to this? Is the base angle congruent to the vertex angle? And of course the answer is no. So the incorrect step here is step 1, or answer choice A. Step 1 is wrong. Alright, let's move on to example 2. Okay, here we have example 2, and it says which of the following statements is true? Okay, and I'll use different colors for these. So let's start off with a nice purple. Statement 1 says that AC, so let's see, AC is this little segment right here, is congruent to AB. Now guys, even just looking at it, do those lines look the same? No. And you could label AC as the part and AB as the whole, and we know that that is not a true statement. Okay, let's use this nice little orange color for letter B. Let's say, okay, you know what, here is AC, here's AC in orange, and we're doing 1/2 of AB. Wait a second. AB is this whole thing, and you're telling me that we're going to do half? So let's say like here is half. Well, is half of AB congruent to AC? And yeah, that's true. Or we're saying this, we're saying that the part is equal to 1/2 of the whole. And that will be our true statement. Alright guys, the answer number 2 is letter B. Let's move on to our third example. Okay, here we have problem 3. Now this one says given the parallel lines below are cut by transversal PR. Okay, so wait a second. So we can say like this is L, maybe this is M, and this is N. Let's be a little bit more clear. We're going to say L is parallel to M is parallel to N. And it's being cut by this transversal PR. So here is P all the way to R. It's cutting all the way through. Now sometimes in geometry, we actually only use a single letter or a single number to label specific angles. So for example, this, we'll just call it angle R. This can be angle S. And I'm not going to put an arc for P because, you know, I don't want to give too much away just yet. But it says find the measure of angle P when given angle R is 4 parentheses 5x minus 2. And guys, if you are not drawing these shapes on your own paper and you're not labeling them on your own paper, you are going to put yourself at a unique disadvantage. Now what's the question here? Are these things congruent or are they supplementary? Is angle R congruent or is it supplementary to angle S? And notice this, whenever we have our parallel lines and our angles are on the exterior of those parallel lines, right? Because here, let's use a different color. This right here would be the interior, and then this right here in the red would be the exterior of those lines. And you'll notice here's our transversal, and this one is on the left side and this one's on the right side. So we're saying that they are actually going to be alternate exterior angles. Now what do we know about alternate exterior angles? Well, we know that they are congruent. So we can actually go ahead and set these things equal. We can say 6x, and here let me just really show y'all. I was saying the exterior angles are there. We're saying that 6x plus 12 is equal to 4 parentheses 5x minus 2. Okay, well, we know we can go ahead and distribute. And so we have 6x plus 12 is equal to 4 times 5x, or aka 20x. And 4 times negative 2, which would be negative 8. Now from here, if we want to get the x's by themselves, well, we can subtract 6x from both sides. And let me make that a nicer 6. When we do that, we get 12 is equal to 14x minus 8. And of course, to get the x by itself, we get rid of our subtraction by adding. And 12 plus 8 is 20, which is equal to 14x. Now, this is a little bit jam-packed. So I'm going to clean this up. I want you to pause the video and finish taking any notes that you need to. But let's make this a little bit nicer and a little bit neater. Okay, so we left off with 20 is equal to 14x. And so we are going to divide both sides by 14. Now notice, you can actually divide both 20 by 2 and you can divide 14 by 2. And we can actually reduce this to 20 divided by 2 is 10 over 14 divided by 2, which is 7. And this is our x term. Now notice, the question is asking us to find the measure of angle P. And remember, we said that this was congruent to that. Well, what about P? I'm going to use a different color here. And I'm actually going to tell you it is actually different. Why? Well, here is our transversal. And you'll notice a couple things. You'll notice that these two angles are both on the interior. They're on the interior of this line, and they're on the interior of this line. And not only are they on the interior, they're also both on the left side. So we call that the interior and the same side. Well, if you will recall, we have a word for that. That's called consecutive angles. And we know that consecutive angles, angle S plus angle P, have to add up to 180. So how are we going to tackle something like this? Well, we don't really have any expression for P. So we're going to take angle S, and we will simply do 6x plus 12. We plug in our x, 10 over 7. And of course, 6 times 10 is going to be 60 over 7 plus 12. And guys, I'm a-okay with y'all using a calculator and getting decimals for this one. So let's just do 60 over 7 plus 12. And you'll get this. You'll get that angle S is equal to 20.57 degrees. Well, notice, remember, we said that angle S and angle P both add up to 180. We can simply do 180 minus 20.57, okay, and 180 minus that answer, and we'll get this, 159.43 degrees. So we could say that angle P, we'll go ahead and switch back over here, we can say that angle P is equal to 159.43 degrees. Alright, let's move on to our fourth and final example for this video. Okay, here we are in example 4, and it says solve for x given the regular pentagon below. And just recall that regular means that all 5 sides of the pentagon are going to be congruent. And not only that, but all 5 angles of a pentagon must also be congruent. Now from here, we actually need to do kind of 2 separate calculations. Number 1, we need to find the total interior angles. And I want you to recall, you need to memorize this following formula. It's the number of sides minus 2 times 180. Okay, well, we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, and I promise that's a 4. And of course, we have 5 sides minus 2 times 180. And guys, 5 minus 2 is 3 times 180. And 3 times 180 is 540. Now remember, that is all 5 of those interior angles. So since they're regular and all 5 are the same, what we can do is we can divide by 5. And 540 divided by 5 will give us 108 degrees. And now we can actually set up our equation. We can say, you know what? This one angle right here is being represented by the expression 3.6 parentheses 7x plus 9 is equal to 108. Now, if we solve for x from here, we're going to get the correct answer. Okay, so what is 3.6 times 7? Well, let's see, 3.6 times 7 will be 25.2x, and 3.6 times 9 will give us 35.1, and that's equal to 108. Now, of course, we know we get rid of our addition next, and so we'll subtract by 35.1 on both sides, and now we have 25.2x is equal to, let's see, 108 minus 35.1 will be 72.9. And from here, guys, of course, we can divide both sides by 2, and so 25.2, we'll divide both sides by 25.2, and we are going to get, let's see, 79.2 divided by 25. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I said the wrong thing. 72.9 divided by 25.2 will give us 2.89. Now, I could be wrong. I want to check something. 2.89. I think I might have done my math wrong when I made the answer choices here. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and I'll fix that. But looks like... Okay, I need y'all to stop for 1 second, and I can't really reshoot this whole video, so I just want to show y'all something. Here's where I made a mistake. And you know what? Mistakes happen. In the calculator, I wrote 3.9 instead of 3.6. So right here, let me just kind of underline this, and we'll switch colors so I can show you all my error. 3.6 times 9 is actually going to not be 35.1. Y'all have my apologies, okay? So 3.6 times 9, typing it correctly, is going to be 32.4. Now from here we would subtract 32.4, and we would subtract 32.4, and it turns out that 108 minus 32.4 will give me 75.6. So let me go ahead and erase that. I need to turn that into a 75.6. 75.6. And 75.6 divided by 25.2 will in fact give us 3. So sorry guys, I knew this was not the correct answer because I was so surprised when it came out to be a whole number. So guys, the correct answer is 3, and y'all have my utmost apologies for that mistake in the video that I just made. Alright guys, the correct answer to number 4 is 3. Thank y'all so much, and I'll catch y'all in our next video.